So, as you guys know, in 1 day's time, aka tomorrow, the Black Ops Cold War beta is going to be out on at least PS4, and the next weekend we have it on Xbox, PC, and PS4. But Treyarch dropped a bomb on us today with a blog post describing everything that they are adding and changing in the Cold War beta, and what is going to be changing as well going into the final game. And some of the things are huge, things that we have never seen before in Call of Duty games, or personally for me, in any first-person shooter. The big one for me being a field of view slider in a console game. To my knowledge, I don't remember any first-person shooter games ever doing this on a console. Almost all of them have it on PC, but not on a console, which is amazing to see, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's new maps, new modes, new changes to the way you play the game, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. Everything that Treyarch has changed going into the beta, and it's quite a bit, so let's just jump right into it. So if I'm being honest, there's so much here that I don't exactly know where to start, but I guess where we'll start is with the new maps. And I say maps kind of liberally. There's one brand new map, but they're also making some changes. You'll see what I mean in a sec. So the first new map is the map that you are looking at here, and it is called Cartel. This is set in the steamy jungles of Nicaragua, where players will storm a remote compound where a known Perseus associate has been operating in the shadows. So that's kind of like the background story of this map. Now, the interesting thing about this map is it's a 6v6 map and a 12v12 map. And that really worried me when I first read that, because I assumed that it was going to be designed for 12v12, but you can play 6v6, and it's just going to be very, very slow. But then, as I read further into the blog post, and you can check out the blog post linked down in the description, it seemingly says that also Armada and Crossroads, the two other 12v12 maps from the alpha, are also going to be in 6v6, which makes no sense because Crossroads is a massive, massive map. So to me, what it sounds like is they're actually going to be scaling down some of the 12v12 maps to make them smaller and work as a 6v6 map. The only other Call of Duty game I remember actually doing this was Call of Duty Black Ops 1 for modes like Gun Game and things along those lines, where they would actually make the 6v6 maps smaller so they would work for these smaller free-for-all games. This is something I was very confused why Modern Warfare didn't do, taking some of their ground war maps and just taking a chunk of them and putting them into multiplayer. This is what it seems like Black Ops Cold War is actually going to be doing, which I think is a great idea as long as they design them properly. And I'm super curious to see how these are going to work. If I'm wrong here and they're just taking the 12v12 maps and putting them in 6v6, that'll suck. So hopefully that's not the case, but I'm pretty confident that they are going to just be making them smaller, which is going to be interesting. Next up, we have the new game modes. So the first one here is VIP Escort. We've talked about this one, kind of like a search and destroy-esque game mode, where you have a VIP on your team. You have to escort them to extract from the map where the defending team tries to stop them. We've talked about this mode, no reason to go over it again. The next one, though, is brand new, and it's super interesting to me. So this one's called Combined Arms Assault. So whenever it's called Combined Arms, that means it's 12v12, there's vehicles, tanks, things along those lines, which you guys know I don't necessarily love, but this mode is really interesting to me, because Assault is essentially war from back in Call of Duty World at War. Now, if you don't know what this mode is, I believe in Advanced Warfare there was also a mode similar to this, but basically, at the beginning of the game, one flag spawns in at the middle of the map. Both teams fight to take over that middle flag. Once one team does, the next flag pushes closer to the enemy team's spawn until you push them all the way back into their spawn and take the final flag. It said that there's going to be a total of 5 flags in this mode. So I've always liked this mode, even back in Call of Duty World at War, and it's going to be interesting in 12v12. I'm also curious to see if they just put Assault as a mode in 6v6, because that's something that I would definitely enjoy as well. The next mode, though, is the most interesting to me. It's called Fireteam Dirty Bomb, and this one is interesting because it's nothing that we've ever seen before in a Call of Duty game. It's a 40-player match with 10 teams of 4. So you play on a squad of 4, kind of similar to Warzone or things along those lines. But it is a respawn game mode, and we'll get more into that in a second. the basic description of it is this: a total of 40 players broken out into 10 teams will compete to take out enemies, collect uranium caches, locate dirty bombs scattered throughout the map, and successfully deposit their uranium into said bombs to detonate them and get the win. So a strange mode seemingly on a big map, but this is where things get interesting. Each detonation causes radiation to leak out to large areas of the map, scoring points for the team that ignited the bomb and transforming huge portions of the map into radioactive hazards for everyone. So basically, to me, that sounds like the zone moving in a Warzone match. The longer players hang on to uranium, the longer radiation sickness sets in. This affects perk benefits, movement, health regeneration, and ultimately your operator's life. Now, once your operator's life runs out, you'll experience the fire team spawn system. In other words, the same sort of spawn system that we saw in Ground War and Modern Warfare. You can spawn on your squad when they're not in combat, you can spawn in by dropping in from the sky, or you can spawn into a vehicle that your team is driving. So almost identical to Ground War and Modern Warfare, but you can also drop in from the sky. This sounds really interesting to me. It almost sounds like something they'd put into Warzone, not necessarily its own mode with its own maps. So I'm interested to see what this is like. Unfortunately, we won't be able to get our hands on this mode until the second weekend of the beta. So the 15th is when this will first be available. And I'm curious. I don't know what I'm going to think of this mode. It would also be an interesting mode with no respawns, almost like a battle royale mode. But we'll have to wait to see how it plays. It's definitely something we haven't experienced before, and it's very different from the normal Call of Duty multiplayer. So next we're moving into some of the more in-game features, the first of which is an in-game ping system. So this already exists in Warzone, but they're implementing it into multiplayer. So basically with this, you can ping objectives, loot, location, enemies, or even score streaks by pressing left on the D-pad or F on a keyboard. Like I said, we already have this in Warzone. Now they're implementing it in multiplayer, and I think this is going to be fantastic for game modes like Search and Destroy. I'm also curious to hear if when you get pinged by an enemy, if you're you know that, or if you're just kind of oblivious to that, because I think that would be kind of to your advantage to know that someone pinged you, so you know someone's looking at you. It's going to be interesting to see how this works in multiplayer. I think it's a good feature if it's used right. And like I said, in a game mode like Search, I think it's going to be fantastic. And something like a faster game mode like Team Deathmatch, people might just be spamming it all the time, and it might get a little bit annoying, but we'll have to wait and see. And then in my opinion, the best thing in this entire blog post at all is the field of view slider. So if you don't know what field of view is, it's basically the angle that your character sees. The higher the field of view that you're playing on, the more you can see to your left and right peripherals. This was the one huge advantage that I think players got by playing on PC. They could just see more of the map and more people coming at them and then adjust accordingly. When you're playing on console, previous to Black Ops Cold War, there's really nothing you can do to combat that. And playing in a game mode like Warzone, where some people were on PC, some people were on console, the ones with a higher field of view had a really big advantage, especially in a smaller area like the Gulag, where you could see literally every line of sight. So they're now implementing this into Black Ops Cold War on console. And as I said at the beginning of the video, to my knowledge, I don't know any first-person shooter games that do this on console. It's something that I have personally been asking for a really long time, and so has the Call of Duty community, and it seems like Treyarch has finally answered our prayers, and Lord Vondahar said, let's put it in the game, and it is going to be here tomorrow in the beta. Now, the last one that we have here is Hud Visual Toggles, and a lot of people were asking for this in the alpha. To me, these aren't a big deal. I just will have all of them on, but you can turn things off or on, like crosshairs, hit marker visuals, which I don't know why you'd turn that off, damage-based hit markers, ally health bars, enemy health bars, player names, and horizontal compass. To me, taking any of these away from your HUD is just taking away information from your character and will just kind of make it harder for you to play in multiplayer. But hey, I know some people don't like the health bars, so maybe that's their cup of tea. But for me, I'm personally going to have all of these on. I'm kind of curious to see how many players actually take any of these off, but it's definitely nice to have that kind of customization. It's clear that Treyarch is just trying to check all of the boxes when it comes to making people be able to play the exact way that they want to. So, in my opinion, all of this information that we were given today is fantastic. All things that I think are going to improve the game greatly. The one thing I am worried about is the 6v6 and the 12v12 maps kind of coming together and seeing how that they will do that. And when we'll see that is tomorrow. So I'm really curious about that. And of course, I'll make videos as the weekend goes on, talking about what I like, what I don't like. But as of right now, everything that I'm seeing in this article is a big thumbs up for me. I'm curious what you guys think about it. Let me know down in the comments. And of course, once the beta goes live tomorrow, we'll be streaming over on Twitch, so be sure to check that out down in the description. On top of that, I'll have more videos coming out throughout the weekend. So, as always, if you enjoyed the video, it's always appreciated if you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on, and as always, let me know what you think down in the comments. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard. And I want